The Wall Street Journal in this article is calling, or at least saying out loud, that maybe Caitlin Clark's civil rights are actually being violated. Is her right to a peaceful workplace, a non-hostile work environment, are those rights being violated by the...
She didn't just play basketball. She lived through a weekly spin-off of Law & Order, Refs on the Loose. Every time Cece hit the court, it was like her civil rights packed their bags and left. Whistles were magically selective. Fouls only existed if she so much as exhaled near someone. Welcome to the absurd sports soap opera where playing fair is basically a fairy tale. If you think injustice only belongs in a courtroom, you haven't seen what they did to Cece in a pair of gym shorts. Buckle in, this gets absurd.
All of y'all who said we were exaggerating, Caitlin Clark's not getting fouled, bruh, it's to the point where we have this going on. We're talking, now there's articles about her civil rights being like thrown out. It is crazy. It is.
Cece's WNBA career is turning into a full-contact demolition derby, the kind you'd expect if she'd accidentally signed up for a Hunger Games remake. Forget finesse, forget the three-point clinic. The real drama is every trip past half-court without getting jumped like she's hoarding the last roll of toilet paper in lockdown.
Caitlin Clark, the Department of Justice, and quite possibly the President of the United States himself. Somebody got to say it, so I'm going to say it. But one thing I will not do is take credit for this. I am looking at the Wall Street Journal. The author of the article is a guy by the name of Sean McLean. Let me read to y'all the opening couple of graphs, because I want you to hear the impact of this. This is...
Here's a league that preaches empowerment while letting a once-in-a-generation player get clobbered like she skipped out on alimony. Every game becomes a creative brainstorming session. How can we rough up Caitlin today? Elbows? Absolutely. Hip checks? Of course. A forearm to the ribs mid-layup? Why not? At this point, her jersey might as well say, "Kick me, I'm gifted."
A lot of y'all not honest with yourselves. I've been telling y'all, it's all documented from this season. And I've pulled up clips from last season. We obviously see the targeting. We obviously see the jealousy. We obviously see the hatred. We see it all. Whether you're going to be honest or not, we see it. Y'all can't come with this excuse of, oh, it's just physical. Bro, Caitlin had like majority of the flagrant fouls last season. Most of.
But don't worry, the league hasn't forgotten the problem. Nope, they're studying, probably by forming an elite task force of people who've never seen a basketball in their lives, led by someone convinced WNBA stands for, "We're not bothering anybody." Their disciplinary system seems to be based on pure vibes and a dartboard of random penalties.
WNBA, y'all are in trouble. I told y'all didn't want to protect my precious CC. Now y'all getting hit with a civil lawsuit for targeting. You hear me? And then this stuff is documented. That don't even make no sense from players just speaking freely, thinking that they won't have no consequences. That means somebody had them on the payroll. Know what I'm saying? She done had 4 injuries within like a month and a half. Disgusting.
Why is Caitlin the target of so many violent fouls? Easy, she's too good. The type of good that turns defensive schemes into Real Housewives. Elbow edition. You'd think the competition would just train harder, but no, violence is quicker and apparently way more fun to ref. And by ref, I mean stand there, sip Gatorade, and work on your manicure.
Oh man, oh man, oh man. So, I don't really talk about politics, but once politics enter my world, my rule is, I say this, we gotta talk about it. So politics are coming to our world, my world, sports, and now in Caitlin Clark's world, which is so unfortunate. I feel sorry for Caitlin Clark because she's a pawn of this whole thing, and I think Caitlin Clark needs to speak up. I'm tired of her being silent.
Meanwhile, the refs look like they've enrolled in some kind of witness protection program mid-game. You'd swear they get paid per missed whistle. Cece takes a clothesline, and the officials are too busy admiring the Jumbotron replay of their own incompetence. Maybe someone should check if they're harboring a college-era grudge, because at this rate, even while Coyote is taking notes on how many times she's been ambushed without consequence. And isn't it amazing how certain folks suddenly develop selective blindness to the obvious? like the 6 feet 9 inches center built, like a Marvel supervillain bulldozing through every screen as if she's clearing the pit at a metal concert? But no, let's keep pretending this is just part of the game. Elbow a rookie? You get street cred. Flatten double C? Congratulations, highlight reel secured. Want a trend online? Body slam her, then stand over her like you just claimed a UFC belt. Nothing says women supporting women quite like turning your most marketable star into a crash test dummy.
Bad. You know how bad and nasty things gotta be for the Wall Street Journal to talk about going after y'all for her civil rights being violated? Do you know how bad it has to get? That's how nasty things have become. And you guys like to sit there and make it seem like we're making things up. We're not making nothing up. Kathy Engelberg treats Caitlin Clark like she's a headache and a disservice to the league.
And please spare us the crowd chanting. Well, she should toughen up, right? Because when your kneecaps are somewhere near your rib cage and your spine's been rearranged by a flying elbow, the logical fix is mental resilience. What's next? Hand her a helmet and call it character building. You'd think someone at WNBA HQ might realize that letting your biggest draw get ragdolled on live TV isn't the growth plan they had in mind. Instead of growing the game, they're expanding Caitlin's bruise collection. The only thing going viral is footage of her being ragged around like she wandered into an NFL scrimmage by accident. Because when there's no enforcement, you don't get toughness, you get chaos. And let's be honest, if this were happening to anyone else, and if it wasn't Caitlin Clark, we'd already have emergency meetings, pressers, and half a dozen suspensions. But because it's her, all we get is a shrug, a meme, and a chorus of retired 40-somethings with itchy Twitter fingers blaming her for being overhyped.
And that's understandable because there have been fantastic players in the WNBA for a long time. But Caitlin didn't disparage them. She just came in and kind of changed the game with her style. So I think it's one of those things where you have to say, okay, maybe I don't think it's fair based on the previous women who have been in this league, but it's not Caitlin's fault. All she's done is elevate the game for all of us. And I think instead of being pissed off about that, you should be.
Let's also take a moment to appreciate the gold medal mental gymnastics some people are pulling to justify this mess. It's part of the game. No, it's not. Playing defense is part of the game. Kneecapping someone like you're auditioning for a mob flick? Not part of the game. She needs to earn respect. Oh, right, because apparently respect now comes packaged with flying elbows and intentional blindsides. And props to the conspiracy crowd claiming anyone who speaks up is just protecting the white girl. Adorable. Nothing says progressive sports talk like using race as a hall pass for blatant cheap shots. Reality check. Accountability doesn't care about your skin color or jersey color. Bad behavior is bad behavior. And if you have to rack up 3 felonies a night just to prove you're tough, you might not be that good. Then there's the bright idea floating around. If the league won't enforce it, players should. Sure, and while CC's getting slammed nightly like she owes back rent, the WNBA's talking about growth, expansion, and visibility. Yeah, nothing says brand growth like letting your future superstar get pancaked in slow motion for a national audience. Maybe next year, throw in a steel cage and hand the MVP a folding chair.
Kathy Engelberg, where are you? Where are you, Kathy? Nowhere to be found. You are quiet. Quiet as a mouse. It done got real spooky, I know. Nightmare on Elm Street is what I'm talking about, Freddy Krueger style.
And while we're at it, let's discuss Griner. The media can dress this up as basketball all they want, but when you're standing beside someone who makes LeBron look fun-sized, and they're playing as if the rulebook is optional, something's off. There's dominant, and then there's wait, is this even legal? If someone's towering over the competition and bulldozing like a freight truck in Nikes, maybe it's time for some awkward but necessary conversations. The fix? Start with the basics, enforce the actual rules. I know, wild idea. But if you hand out fines and suspensions like Halloween candy to anyone who tries to detach Cece's shoulders from her body, the message might stick. If not, stick tasers in the refs' uniforms and let them zap anyone confusing basketball with a wrestling match. Or, hear me out, start talking about biological advantages, because when you mix that with zero consequences, you get exactly what we're watching right now. Chaos wearing a basketball jersey.
I'm serious, you don't have no integrity. You hear me? You allowing these assaults on my precious CC, but you have your favoritism when it comes to certain other players who not even the face of the league. They just hoopers. They ain't bring no awesome revenue. They ain't bring no awesome viewership. They ain't bring y'all out of the shadows to the mainstream. Now we see everything that's been going on.
The clock is running out. The longer they let this slide, the more they build a league where violence is a strategy and silence is official policy. And eventually, it won't just be Caitlyn, it'll spread to every player, every roster, every matchup. Once you turn your sport into a soap opera with bruises, don't act shocked when your best talent walks away and takes the audience with them. If the WNBA wants to be taken seriously, they've got two options: police the court or be policed by someone else. Because the only thing more humiliating than watching your biggest star get assaulted every night is believing no one's going to speak up. Keep ignoring it, and soon we'll all be watching Caitlin Clark's career highlights in a DVD box set titled Assaults That Somehow Weren't Fouls, complete with bonus commentary from referees who conveniently looked the other way. The proof is there, time-stamped. This isn't let the players play. This is let's see how far we can push someone before ESPN has to blur out the injuries.
Maybe WNBA leadership should at least have to go sit in front of some people and answer some very uncomfortable questions. Lord knows I would love to see that. Because Kathy Engelbert and Adam Silver, it seems to be nothing to see here. Please.
Let's not kid ourselves. This isn't some organic evolution of the game. It's a cultivated culture of unchecked aggression, conveniently excused because the target happens to be young, white, successful, and worst of all, popular. You'd think popularity would protect her, but in the WNBA it paints a bullseye. She packs arenas? Threatening. She spikes ratings? Now she's the villain. It's high school cafeteria politics in sneakers, and the most comical part is the pearl clutching from bitter ex-players now playing gatekeeper. She hasn't earned her place. What is this, a sorority hazing ritual? You can't sit with us unless you've been here since 2002, averaging 5 points during the Bush administration? Please. CC's resume reads like an MVP cheat code. This isn't getting roughed up. It's getting physically assaulted. Imagine any other league letting it happen, shrugging, then congratulating themselves for being tough. The NFL would have shut this down in 2 quarters, with 30 lawyers and $1 billion lawsuit before the second commercial break. But Caitlyn? Nope. Let her get steamrolled. Builds character. And apparently ratings.
There comes a point where people have to use the brain that God gave them and understand that before you write an article, you really need to think about what you're writing. You really need to take a step back, or roll your chair back, open your eyes, and realize that what you write, you might not want to write. It's like an email response to something that you have happen at work. Write it, delete it, and then take a.
It's playground logic dressed up in a professional setting. If she's better than me, take her down. No real strategy, no finesse, just hostility wearing a hustle mask. And the WNBA, in all its infinite wisdom, is letting it slide because they're scared. Scared to rock the boat. Scared to enforce their own rules. Scared that doing the right thing might upset the wrong people. So they say nothing, do even less, and hope nobody sues. But someone will. This isn't going to stay cute forever. The second CC's injuries start threatening her career, and you better believe her family's lawyers already have an Exhibit A folder. The game changes. Even casual fans are asking, isn't this illegal? That's not a trending topic you want attached to your league. That's a PR disaster with a legal invoice stapled to it. And here's the ugly truth. The longer this continues, the clearer it becomes that the league is counting on her not fighting back. But that toothpaste doesn't go back in the tube. Because one day she's going to walk into a courtroom with a highlight reel, a celebrity attorney, and a statement about workplace safety, negligence, and systemic failure. And when she wins, it won't just be about her, it'll be an exposé. The WNBA will have turned their greatest asset into their most dangerous critic.
I know she's trying to be like this Gandhi figure, try to be like MLK, passive aggressiveness, but peaceful. I get it. But I think it's time for Caitlin Clark to speak up for herself. She needs to speak up for herself because she's allowing these people like senators talk about her civil rights are being violated, which is...
You can already feel the shift. Commentators, analysts, even ex-players, they're starting to flinch. It's just part of the game. Chorus is getting quieter. The flashy highlights are morphing into cautionary documentaries. The cheers from the stands are starting to sound more like gasps. And that's not good for business, or for anyone. If the WNBA doesn't step up, the dominoes will fall fast. Sponsors will walk. Parents will stop telling their daughters to tune in. Future stars will take one look and decide it's not worth the risk. Because who wants to chase a dream only to get publicly assaulted with zero protection? At that point, the dream isn't a goal, it's a trap. So now the league has a choice. Grow up, enforce real rules, protect all your players, and actually build something worth watching, or keep pretending Caitlin Clark is a problem instead of a blessing, and watch the audience she brought in walk right back out. If they choose the second path, fine, but time's almost up. Her patience isn't endless. Her bruises are stacking up. The cameras are rolling. The public is watching. This isn't just a league problem anymore. This is a civil rights issue in high tops.